Welcome to the land far away, where we discuss culture from a certain point of view. It appears to me that most people associate Hanna-Barbera cartoons with cheap animation, numerous production mistakes, lazy writing, and a cringe-inducing laugh track. I understand their perspective, but oddly enough, my own experience with these cartoons is vastly different. Suffice to say, when I was a child, my top 3 favorite shows were Batman, the animated series, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, and The Pirates of Dark Water. The latter two were productions of Hanna-Barbera. All 3 of them were animation marvels, and I still maintain this perspective even after re-watching them in my mid-30s. However, while Batman TAS remains beloved to this very day, Johnny Quest seems to be largely forgotten, and The Pirates of Dark Water never really managed to gain traction. The show was cancelled early, its story never received a conclusion. The only people who appear to remember it are the fortunate ones who grew up watching it in the early 90s. If you weren't fortunate enough to experience it, you might be curious about what made The Pirates of Dark Water so exceptional. In a nutshell, envision Star Wars, but in a pirate setting, sprinkled with a bit of Dungeons and Dragons. The story unfolds on a predominantly water-covered planet called Mare, plagued by the destructive Dark Water. Our Luke Skywalker stand-in, humorously named Ren, is a naive and exuberant individual who embarks on a perilous journey to locate the 13 treasures of Rule, which have the power to vanquish the Dark Water once and for all. Joining Ren on his quest are a band of companions: Tula, a former tavern wench with the ability to manipulate animals, plants, and various elemental forces of nature; Nidalee, the monkey bird who often serves as comic relief but can also aid the group with his ability to fly; and finally the coolest one, Ios, a roguish and opportunistic pirate who initially joins the quest for personal gain, but gradually aligns himself with Ren's noble mission. You guessed it, he's the Han Solo of the group. We even encounter him in a cantina.
This is men's business. Off with you, wench.
Ren and his crew are perpetually pursued by the nefarious pirate Lord Bloth and his colossal ship, the Maelstrom. Bloth is most likely the only villain capable of wearing blue lipstick and sandals, yet remaining truly menacing. Arguably, his towering stature of over 7 feet, coupled with the commanding voice of Brock Peters, makes this feat possible.
Enough of this dancing about! The old man hid the 13 treasures of Rule within the realm of Dark Water, and I mean to have them!
If you, the viewers, are interested, I might delve into a comprehensive review/retrospective of the entire show. However, given that the majority of my subscribers seem to be here for animated horror, I wanted to address only a partial aspect of this inquiry. One of the factors that contributed to The Pirates of Dark Water being an exceptional show was the inclusion of fantastic creatures and monsters throughout the series. These entities were cool, creative, and occasionally terrifying. Let's delve into the discussion of some of them in no specific order. My first choice is quite obvious: the titular Dark Water. In terms of visual design, it's not particularly striking. It's just this black, thick, and oily liquid. However, this minimalist portrayal provides an expansive canvas for the show's writers to flex their world-building muscles. By that, I mean there's a wealth of backstory connected to this evil substance. Dark water oozes up from the depths of the planet's core and drifts in vast patches on the sea's surface. Interestingly, dark water is alive and carnivorous. You can even hear it roar on occasion. It's in constant motion, consuming everything in its path and leaving only loss and despair in its wake. It devours people, ships, and even land. Given that Mare is primarily covered by water, making the most formidable force of destruction a malevolent liquid was a brilliantly strategic move on the writer's part. The threat it poses is utterly overwhelming. There's no hiding from it. You can only attempt to flee. But this is only a short-term solution, as eventually, the dark water will inevitably consume the entire planet, unless, of course, Ren and his crew succeed in stopping it. The dark water proves to be lethal in more than one way. In Episode 7, A Drop of Darkness, we encounter Cray the alchemist who once had a brief romantic history with Ren's father. Now, she has hots for Ren, but first she wants to regain her youth and beauty by drinking a potion made of dark water. This plan initially works, but eventually the malevolent liquid exacts its toll, leading to one of the most grim and horrifying moments in the entire series.
Go! You must go!
Cray!
Shifting our focus to the show's storytelling merits, I genuinely appreciate how it takes its time before revealing the dark water to us. In fact, it takes 3 episodes. Prior to that, we hear of the dark water and witness the fear it instills in everyone, creating a constant atmosphere of trepidation regarding potential encounters with this evil substance.
The dark water! It has found us! The dark water is coming! It's coming!
This deliberate pacing effectively builds tension. Speaking of tension building, it's not until the 8th episode out of the 21 that we learn about the nature of the dark water. Then we also learn of the Dark Dweller. He's a malevolent entity residing within the Chamber of Lost Souls at the center of Mare, where the evil liquid is spawned. The Dark Dweller himself appears to be composed of dark water, suggesting that the dark water is not so much under his control as it is a part of him, an extension of his dreadful will. His goal is to witness the entire world engulfed entirely in the substance, and his power is kept in check only by the 13 treasures of rule. Furthermore, in episode 14 entitled, The Dark Disciples, we learn about dark water's apparent mutative properties. We encounter Morpho, an alchemist who was transformed by the Dark Dweller into a weird hybrid of human and mollusk. This alteration makes him a creature of both worlds, the human world and the dark water's realm. He wields the ability to control the dark water and serves as the Dark Dweller's emissary, a physical extension of sorts in the world above. Morpho is a cool designed character of its own. One that makes me think of Lovecraft, but also mutants of Futurama. Which is actually not the only connection between these two shows. Can you recognize this sound?
If only you could talk. Wait! I understood that!
Also,
Aww. I'll call him Nibbler.
I owe you my life, Niddler. You have my deepest thanks.
Keep your thanks.
returning to the topic of the dark water, the series never offers a single hint about the true nature of this substance or its origins. However, according to the Dweller's RPG entry, Merian legend recounts a time when Mare was in turmoil eons ago. To address this, a potent spell was conceived and cast with the intention of purging all traces of evil from the souls of humanity. Instead of cleansing their souls, the spell merely transferred the essence of evil into the world of Mare itself. Thus was spawned the Dark Dweller. Now that's quite a backstory for a liquid. Let's proceed to other creatures. They don't possess as extensive a backstory as the Dark Water, so I'll keep my descriptions concise. The Leviathan is the creature featured in the series' intro sequence. These serpentine, almost sea dragon-like beings, boast eyes on short stalks, somewhat reminiscent of a hammerhead shark. As the largest among all sea monsters, they leave a lasting impression. However, in episode 12, we witness the gentler side, when Ren befriends a baby Leviathan. The Leviathan's skin is said to be the only thing resistant to dark water. Actually, the maelstrom is built from bleached Leviathan carcasses, and resembles a gargantuan floating fossil. The masts are visible as the skeletal remains of a giant creature's vertebrae. Now that's a nice world-building detail. I began this video by drawing a comparison between the Pirates of Dark Water and Star Wars. However, the subsequent creature is more akin to a fusion of a Rancor, a Dianoga, and a Xenomorph. Dubbed the Constrictus, this massive, eyeless, worm-like creature features a scorpion-like stinger. It boasts 3 tentacles tipped with hooks, and a fanged maw that conceals multiple smaller jaws attached to long, extendable cables. Residing beneath the decks of the Maelstrom, this monster serves as Bloth's personal instrument of torture. Whenever the pirate lord seeks to eliminate an individual, even members of his own crew, he casts them into the Constrictus pit, just like Jabba the Hutt. It's no surprise that sailors respond this way when Bloth is recruiting.
What? Has there been a seaquake?
No, Blight is looking for crew.
Early in the series, we discover that Conk, Bloth's enforcer, voiced by the brilliant Tim Curry, is seemingly the sole survivor of an encounter with the Constrictus. Conk's peg leg stands as a testament to that ordeal. Undeniably terrifying, the creature's scare factor does wane with time, as Ren manages to evade its deadly tentacles on more than few occasions. Creature number 4 appears as if it were plucked directly from yet another sci-fi franchise, this time Frank Herbert's Dune. Galquin is an immense, pale brown sandworm boasting a spiny, armored head, sizable insect-like green-blue eyes, tusk-like mandibles, and numerous sets of chewing mouthparts. It serves as the unspoken protector of the 4th treasure of Rule. The crew devised a scheme to poison it using a loak flower. However, in the end, they managed to secure the treasure without causing any harm to the Galquin. How considerate of them. Let's shift our focus and delve into a significantly smaller creature, yet one that arguably boasts the most original design thus far. In my view, crafting an intimidating appearance for a tree isn't an easy feat, but the Blight rises to this challenge. This entity takes on the form of a spirit of disease and pestilence, encountered by Ren within the subterranean root network of an enormous, ancient tree. It presents itself as a thin, gnarled monstrosity resembling a lizard crafted from charred wood. Adorned with a multitude of slender, branching arms that display immediate regenerative abilities if severed, the Blight's head sports a pair of twig-like, insectile appendages, merging various eerie elements into a single, diseased plant-like entity. Kiroptus is one of the Dark Dweller's servants, released during the initial emergence of dark water to spread the treasures across Mare. This large, winged creature resembles a gargoyle, complete with a scowling and malevolently evil visage, along with 8 claw-like appendages affixed to its 4 wings. Unlike many other monsters, Kiroptus possesses advanced cognitive abilities, rendering it remarkably perilous. It even managed to manipulate Ren into liberating it from its magical imprisonment. Adding to the sense of horror is Kiroptus's voice, delivered by none other than Mark Hamill himself.
Give up the treasures, boy, and your end will be swift and merciful.
By this point you've probably realized that Pirates of Dark Water had an amazing cast of voice actors. Indeed it had. When it comes to creatures that played a somewhat larger role in the series, that's all I wanted to discuss. However, I wish to conclude this video with a compilation of intriguing beings that master the background. By that, I mean they don't have much story attached to them, but they do play a significant role in world building. These creatures enable characters to accomplish what are often rather ordinary and mundane tasks, but in an otherworldly manner. At least otherworldly in our eyes. I would argue that successful world building is rooted in the ability to convey volumes using minimal measures. You know, it's like stating that Owen Lars is a moisture farmer. It's never explained, at least in the Star Wars movies, what a moisture farmer actually does. But those two seemingly casual words have a profound impact on the imagination. It just makes sense that water would be a precious resource on a desert planet. So rather than cultivating corn and potatoes, farmers would focus on water collection. Yet, since Tatooine lacks significant water bodies, they would condense moisture to obtain water. This exemplifies exceptional world building. Anyway, let's return to the Pirates of Dark Water. Here are some creatures that contribute to the illusion that Mare is a genuine, fully developed, lived-in world. Not surprisingly, most of them have been weaponized by pirates. Firstly, we have Gaziers. These creatures are housed in gas pistols. When the weapon is fired, a sharp point pricks or a rope squeezes the Gazier, causing it to release its foul, poisonous gas. Next, we encounter Coagulons. They resemble mollusks with a rubbery, three-pointed white body, adorned with a colorful round marking that might serve as an eye spot. They also have a cluster of thick, green tentacles. Coagulons are frequently launched from catapults. In flight, their mouths open wide, sticking to any surface they hit. Once attached, Coagulons emit a potent acidic substance that inflicts damage until they're removed. Interestingly, the show portrays many other toxic creatures utilized for similar purposes. Take, for example, the Nycra, also known as a sea sucker. The ecosystem of Maya is truly fierce. Compared to these acidic creatures, Octopuckers appear almost cute. These small octopus-like beings are commonly employed to immobilize and capture adversaries. I hate insects, worms and bugs of any kind, so I find Darva Worms extremely repulsive. Especially since it's type of worm with razor-sharp teeth that nests in rotting ships. At one point of the series, Ios falls inside a shipwreck completely full of vicious Darva Worms. That scene makes my stomach turn. Not to finish on a disgusting note, let's also explore a few creatures that can be used in a more pleasant manner. So, Amphosites are small, rubbery, stretchy sea creatures that are filled with breathable air. These have been utilized as swimming masks several times throughout the series. Glowfish are fat, small fish that emit a brilliant flash of light when agitated. They are typically kept in covered bowls until needed. To agitate them, the bowl is vigorously shaken, which prompts the fish to flash. Finally, a recurring location in the show is Zuli's Tavern, where we observe long tube-like vines descending from the ceiling and draping over each stool. These vines are Cohol vines, which naturally exude an intoxicating substance. For a single gold piece, a customer may drink at these vines for as long as he wishes. Isn't that a pirate's dream? Thank you for sticking around until the end of this video. I hope you found it enjoyable. Please let me know if you're interested in learning more about the Pirates of Dark Water. Or perhaps you have watched the show and would like to share your comments. Please do. Also, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and until next time, bye.